Hello, you're listening and watching 15 Minutes or Less, and I'm Mabs, and with me are Amy, and Paris too. Everyone say hello.
Hey.
Hi.
That was very good, very, very enthusiastic. So this is the podcast where we go through an episode and a letter of the alphabet, talking about a thing related to that letter of the alphabet. And this week we have reached the letter I, and therefore we are talking about intelligence. I don't really have a sound effect for intelligence, so I'm just...
Use the blue one again.
This one? Or the other blue one?
Press them all.
Okay, so I'm going to start the clock. That one's still going. Thank you very much, Amy White. And we are going to spend the next 15 minutes talking about intelligence, starting now. So, I see Amy Blaker's getting her intelligence on.
There you go.
That's very good.
The intelligent version of me now.
So why do we think that someone with glasses is more intelligent than someone without?
I don't have the answer to that. I'm
Probably
afraid.
they read a lot of books.
Bookworms.
Yeah.
Or watch a lot of TV.
Watch a lot of TV. It's quite a sort of a stereotype, isn't it? People that have glasses are intelligent, but not necessarily. They could just be a bit visually impaired. You're a bit
Bad
visually
genes.
That's me.
impaired. Yeah. Amy Blaker, bit visually impaired. Brilliant.
Not intelligent.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do we know much about intelligence? Are we intelligent enough to
know about
intelligence? I feel like there's a lot of blank expressions around the
I just
table.
looked it up before this episode. So
Meaning of intelligence.
It's a big area, isn't it?
It's very, very big.
it's very hard to define it, but generally,
Mm.
I think people were saying it's this thing that helps you be successful in life.
Yeah, absolutely. And who do you think is the most intelligent person around this table? Me. How do you know that?
Because
Well,
I'm the oldest,
Love
and my brains have grown bigger than yours in
Okay.
the space of time I've been alive on this earth.
Because what I'm trying to get at isn't, I'm not trying to cause a competition, and I mean, obviously, Amy White has very good valid points, but what I'm trying to characterize is what qualities are generally identified as somebody with high intelligence. Does anyone have any suggestions on what those are? Because I have a list of them here.
Good concentration, because you're able to absorb information.
Interesting. So yeah, the very first one is generally people with a high IQ are good listeners, and all of you are doing very good listening. Very good. So that means you have a high IQ, probably. Tick. Generally, people with high intelligence are very untidy. I'm looking around this table and thinking, yeah, that's...
I'm very tidy.
I'm the
That
one with the
doesn't say-
messiest desk.
Yeah, so you could be, with your glasses and the mess, you could be. They have very few friends. Generally don't have that many friends.
It's getting hot.
Why?
Okay.
Yeah, not well. I mean, it's mainly because extremely intelligent people don't take pleasure in going to like parties, or they don't take pleasure in going into like, you know, big social situations. They actually
That's it,
prefer
I'm
their
out.
own. They prefer,
I'm rolled out now.
Yeah, prefer their own company in many ways. So they don't often invest as
It
much.
was starting to sounds like a horoscope until you said that.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, it's us.
Yes, it's not. I'm sorry. But they don't invest much time in social relationships for the most part because they kind of don't see the value in the same way. So they're often people that are awake at night a lot. Are any of you awake at night a lot, thinking about scientific things, working out problem solving?
Yeah, some of my best ideas actually come from the middle of the night, where like with my degree, towards the end of it, the best ideas that I had literally were about 3 a.m, and I'd have a notebook by my bed and I'd just write stuff down. Don't know why that is, but that's because I'm intelligent.
Yeah, well, I mean, your glasses speak volumes for that. And actually, I think given the point you've just illustrated there, Amy Blaker, you could be on course to be intelligent, because intelligent people are often quite arrogant.
Yep, tick.
Yeah, they're often quite arrogant without even realising it, because obviously they're very sure of themselves and what they think, which, would make sense. And they can often be very critical of themselves, highly critical of themselves, own worst critic. They get bored very quickly. So, if you've been watching this podcast and you're thinking about turning it off, good job. You could be intelligent. They learn from their mistakes, and they are often very creative, which is, you know, I think reasonable thing we could say about this table. So those are kind of some of the qualities for people that are generally considered highly intelligent. Do you know anybody that meets a lot of that criteria?
The creative part.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird, isn't it? Because obviously we all have varying degrees of intelligence. And I think as humans, we're like obsessed with intelligence and high IQs. And we're constantly looking for ways to test that and ways to figure out who is the smartest. Because a lot of IQ tests. Have you ever done an IQ test?
Yeah, this is what I was going to bring
Yeah.
up actually. IQ tests. Now, I did one online the other day,
Mm.
but you had to pay to get the results, so I never got the results.
Smart.
But a lot of it was just pictures. Like, you just had to pick the one in the
It's logic,
secrets.
it's problem
Oh,
solving.
Yeah.
and
Mm.
But I don't like that. For me, is easy to do because I deal with alignment and stuff like that all the time in design. But like some of the things you rolled off, like I don't get how IQ determines whether you're intelligent or not. It might just intelligent or not.
Well-
It might just say you're very good at puzzle solving.
A lot of people argue that you could be intelligent in different aspects of your life. They put it in different categories, like you could be intelligent in music, like
Yeah,
in
exactly.
music,
It's
or
really
you
diverse.
could be intelligent emotionally,
Yep.
morally. But after a while, they come up with this system it calls G factor, that it's a being intelligent across all those different category, and that's how they come up with IQ tests.
Mm.
So if you're doing well in IQ, that's something that predicts that you're going to do well in career, relationship, in terms of education. Which is very interesting.
Yeah,
very
you're going to be
impressive.
one of the people that society's like, yeah, you're going to be one of the people in society
Yeah.
that does
and
well.
and it's surprising how accurate it is.
Mm.
If you study children and based on their IQ, they're going to have better marriage, they're going to have better, because I think probably if you have a creative brain and you are good at problem solving and all those things that we cover, you probably, it makes sense to be successful. The only part that I don't understand is the boredom part.
Yeah, absolutely.
What I think getting bored easily is a weakness, basically. If you want to be successful, you shouldn't get bored easily.
Yeah, I think it's that kind of like thinking that, you know, it's not worth your time or your mind is better spent elsewhere. I think it's that
Arrogant part.
Yeah, it's the arrogant part. Effectively, it's those kind of crossover traits. It's kind of interesting because there's often with people that have high IQ or high intelligence or varying types of intelligence, they don't necessarily do very well at school. But then equally, somebody that's very good at exams and tests and gets good grades in school and college and university and all that, they can be very smart and they can be highly intelligent. But equally, you could be those things and fail. So I think like the ways we try and measure these levels of intelligence aren't quite right. Like, I mean, I've seen a lot of things to say that people believe like an IQ test is actually irrelevant and like massively irrelevant because I think it's quite simple to kind of look at things like if you thought about perhaps how you performed in education and people were like, well, you're not very intelligent because you've done bad on tests. It's not strictly true. So, you know, and if we lived in a society where that was how we were completely like viewed on that, then, you know, opportunities would be lessened for everybody. So, yeah, I don't know. Just an intelligent conversation about intelligence there, you know, if you're thinking about it. Also, there are lots of other types of intelligence. We're just talking about human intelligence because we know about that a bit, being humans and all. And obviously some of the stuff we touched on, like emotional intelligence, but a lot of it's about like cognitive behaviors, problem solving and so on and so forth. But they've done a lot of research into animal intelligence, different types of animals that show signs of intelligence. So obviously we've got, you know, dolphins they've done, sort of bonobo apes, they're sort of, you know, like using tools and things like that. Speech intelligence they've sort of done with parrots, and they've done lots of research with ravens. which I thought was quite interesting. And it's problem solving and puzzle solving. It's about that kind of learning. It's like it's different levels of intelligence. If I was an animal, I think I'd probably be a bonobo ape. I can use tools. And chimpanzees as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm quite close to those guys.
Orangutans, aren't they meant to be the second most, or up there, the top? Orangutans and dolphins, I think, when I was looking this up some time ago.
Yeah, it says chimpanzees,
That's really
bonobos, and other great apes. Dolphins, elephants too. Emotional intelligence in elephants is very, very interesting. They grieve when one of their group of elephants passes on, which is very sad. Rats as well have been proven to be very intelligent, running through mazes and tunnels.
But if we thinking about in terms of success, let's say grieving, is that helps?
Yeah, I feel like we're going down a very dark path now.
I don't necessarily. I feel like if someone, I'm not saying I'm like that. Don't judge me. I feel like if someone doesn't need grieving, that's a perk, because you can just move on.
Depends, doesn't it? I suppose.
I think it slows down life.
Well, one of the things that I have read when I was looking into the intelligence thing is there's been a general consensus that as we've gone through human history, our intelligence has always gone up. And they believe in the 21st century, for the first time in our existence, our intelligence as a species is decreasing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of arguments about natural selection and the fact that because people live and are kept alive by modern methods, that stupid people survive. I don't know.
We don't have to remember as much now, though, do we? We don't have to.
No, and you use your phone. Like, I mean, I'm not committing anything to memory. It's all right
We
now.
already covered that intelligent people are not very social. They're less likely to have children, probably.
Yeah.
They don't get to pass down their genes.
That's very true. One of the other things that I read that was quite interesting was they consider and are looking into the fact that plants could be considered intelligent. But it's like a different type of intelligence to how we recognize in humans. And it's argued that plants should also be classified as intelligent based on their ability to sense and model their external sort of like the way they look, the way they evolve essentially, to the environment they're in. So the fact that they evolve, the fact that they adapt, the fact that they, you know.
Yeah, they're very sensitive to vibration.
Yep.
They react to music. And if you say positive stuff to them, which is very fascinating.
It is.
Like
Really?
if you say bad things to a plant, it would die. And if you say positive things,
Okay.
it will grow better. if you ignore, I think
Really?
it was a Japanese scientist who did this with rice. He he put rice in different
Yeah.
departments.
He fed them the same and gave them the same
Yeah,
light.
the environment exactly the same, but ignore one of them, say bad things to one of them, and say positive to the third one. And the third one stayed like white and fresh. The one that ignored, it went yellow. The one that says bad stuff to it, it went like a black.
Wow.
Yeah.
Should we do this
So
test?
that's why you should all be nice to Jeff.
I was just
in the
about to
office.
say that.
Our plant in the
No,
office.
we're
You're always
always-
like, oh, he's looking horrible. He's looking dead. You speak nice to him like I do.
He is looking a bit dead, but I'd say in concern.
I'm sorry,
I'd
but
say in
Jeff is
concern.
looking rough.
He's on his way out.
Just push him back.
No.
You don't care.
There you go.
Oh, poor Jeff.
Jeff will be fine.
Jeff.
Jeff will be fine.
But I'm not disbelieving you because you brought back Pat Susan, our other plant.
Yeah.
It's not passing, but yeah.
Yeah. We name all our plants.
So we're
you
going to
know, we
leave
know
Jeff in your hands, Paris.
Oh, I don't want that responsibility.
that. I'll do it. And of course
Mother of plants.
mother of plants. Well, of course
He's
the other.
a HR. I don't want to get
Yeah,
into trouble.
you don't. Yeah, Jeff, if you're watching right now, we love you and we think you're great. Unbelievable. Didn't even get to go on to artificial intelligence. I think we're going to run out of time on this
Oh.
episode to go into that. But that's a whole other thing of a type of intelligence. That's kind of like
Yeah.
the fourth type, the type that we're developing. And there's no general consensus in research on artificial intelligence about how much artificial intelligence should try and simulate the human brain, which is quite a whole frightening thing. And then if you like movies like The Terminator, then...
Or AI. Have you seen AI?
oh, yeah.
That's a great movie.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen that.
Oh, with that when he was a little, like the little boy robot.
Yeah, yeah,
I like that movie. It's really sad though.
yeah.
Cool. Well, we've got 30 seconds left. Final thoughts on intelligence? Anyone got anything that they'd like to add? I feel like the fact that we're stumped for it is showing a sheer lack of intelligence around this table.
I'm glad that we're not living in an era that people genetically could modify. And if you're poor, your children cannot be as intelligent, and so they're not be able to compete. I think it's very fair that you
Yeah.
Get a chance.
get your chance. You don't get to manipulate the game.
Yes. And that's the end. Well, that was a very poignant end. And I bet you never thought you'd get that on 15 minutes or less. But, you know, we have thoughts and feelings about subjects such as intelligence. So thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for listening. And we'll be back next time, and we'll be moving on to the next letter, which everybody, because we're all highly intelligent, knows that the next letter is J. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Jay, yeah.
Okay, very good. So, yeah, we'll be back next week with the letter J, and leave your comments below, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.